Georgia can clinch the SEC East with a win at Auburn. This game has just kicked off here on ESPN2. We send you now to Auburn, Alabama. Mark Jones and Brock Heward.
Nothing on the return, and that's where Aaron Murray of Georgia, the quarterback, will take the reins of the offense. Mark Jones chopping it up alongside Brock Heward. Allison Williams down on the sidelines. This is the 116th chapter of this rivalry. The Georgia Bulldogs, it's pretty simple for them. A win tonight, and they get a chance to play in Atlanta for the SEC title. Mark Richt has taken this team to 11 consecutive bowl games. How do they close the deal tonight?
That's where you count on your best players like Jarvis Jones and Aaron Murray, but you also count on your veterans that can taste this. 6 starters defensively are seniors, and Aaron Murray making his 37th start. Well, he's hoping to close it out, get that 27th and final out.
This is Gurley on the screen, and Gurley a gain of close to 10. 9 and a little bit. Whitehead with the stop for the Tigers. There's a look at Murray completing 65% of his passes on the season. Had a hot week last week after a slow start. They fell down 10-0 against Ole Miss before storming back in the second half. First down and 10. And a nice reception by Gurley. A little motion up front. Little movement by John Theus, and this offensive line for
Dead
Georgia.
Ball. False start. 71 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first out.
Brock, they had some issues last week early, giving up 5 sacks in the first half.
And this is the first game that Mark Richt is looking at an offensive line different than the previous 9. An injury to his veteran Chris Burnett, right guard, has caused some shuffling up front. And keep an eye on 71. True freshman right tackle that just jumped off sides, John Theus.
Gurley again stays on his feet. Breaks a couple of tackles and is off. Striding it out and finally pushed out of bounds at the 23-yard line. An egregiously missed tackle by McNeil on the play and a 49-yard burst.
When you go for the thigh pad, you better wrap up. This kid is a freak. That's a true freshman at 220 pounds, second in the SEC in rushing. If you don't bring your arms, you're going to see a lot of missed tackles tonight.
Now here's the other half of that thunder and lightning combination in the backfield. Marshall. They throw it, though. It's complete to the tight end, Lynch. And Lynch picks up another Bulldog first down. It'll be first and goal, Georgia. 12-yard gain.
And I love the tempo now. Look at Aaron Murray. He can sense it. He can feel it. You're on the road. You're establishing that tempo here. Drive. Well done by the redshirt junior.
Murray with time. A quick 3-step drop. That pass complete to Tavares King, who usually wears number 12 tonight in honor of his injured and fallen teammate Marlon Brown, wearing Brown's number 15.
You can see it on the helmet, the number 12 there. 2 ACL injuries, 2 of the top 4 receivers from Georgia. Going to create ample opportunity for King tonight, as well as sophomore phenom Malcolm Mitchell, number 26.
The handoff to Gurley. This time makes it down to the 6-yard line. Yeah, Michael Bennett, the other injured receiver for Georgia. 3rd down and goal coming up. What kind of call do you expect here from the quarterback, Murray?
Well, Georgia likes to use those inside slot receivers, either those tight ends, or you're going to see Chris Conley right in the slot, number 31 as well. And this is where you trust your redshirt junior. Georgia's all-time leader with 80 touchdown passes in his career.
Touchdown, Georgia. There he is, Conley. An impressive opening drive by the Bulldogs.
And you've seen this all season long. If they're going to commit 2 defenders to the opposite side, plenty of real estate there, and that's just a perfectly thrown ball. Enough zip to get over the linebackers, but yet enough touch to give your receiver an opportunity on the back end line.
The extra point good, and for Murray, that's his 22nd touchdown pass of the season. A meticulous and well-executed opening drive by the Bulldogs, making a statement early when we come back.
ESPN ESPN College Football. Brought to you by Applebee's. Thanking veterans one plate at a time with a free entree this Veterans Day. Join us Sunday, November 11th for great food and a heartfelt thanks.
Veterans Weekend, as we salute our troops domestically and abroad, those that protect our freedoms and liberties around the world. We all want to say thank you from all of us at ESPN to you, our real heroes. Georgia with a 6-play, 76-yard drive, using just 2:05 on the clock on the first time that they touched the ball, and Gurley with the big setup in that drive, a 49-yard run. There's McCaleb. Wendy, there was a big cheer here a few moments ago. I think you know why. Tell us.
Mark Jones, wonder why. Perhaps it's this in our Dr. Pepper conference update. Texas A&M here, Alabama. A.J. McCarron on 4th and goal, and he's picked off by DeShazer Everett. That will not help the Crimson Tide cause. Then 4th and 1 here. Alabama offsides. It gives the Aggies the first down. They can run out the clock, and it is official. The #1 team in the nation has fallen to Texas A&M.
So, partner, does that mean we officially go into a state of chaos here?
I think so.
We'll talk about the BCS standings in just a moment. The Vizio BCS standings. And the true freshman quarterback brought down by Jarvis Jones. We'll be repeating that chorus a lot tonight.
This guy's a joy to watch, Mark. You put the game film on, he disrupts everything, and he'll do it from the right end. I expect a bunch tonight going up against 51. Patrick Miller, a true freshman, but he's versatile enough to play inside backer, outside backer. It's why Mel Kiper, Todd McShay love him as they project him to the NFL. Going to be a top 5 pick in April.
Trey Mason now in the backfield. Takes the handoff and bounces it nicely outside. Pushed out of bounds to the 14-yard line by Sanders Cummings. Let's take a look at our Chick-fil-A impact players.
You mentioned Emory Blake earlier, the son of the old NFL quarterback Jeff Blake, the go-to receiver outside. Mason and McCaleb, they've got the juice, some of the explosiveness this offense desperately needs. And Darren Bates, converted safety, 3rd in the SEC in tackles a game, by far the most active Tiger sideline to sideline defensively.
3rd down and long again, 3rd and 7. This time they're faced with 3rd and 8.
Cannot afford back-to-back 3-and-outs.
Plenty of time, and finds his receiver for the first down at the 32, Emory Blake. Their leading receiver. 17-yard gain.
Leading receiver by a whole bunch. That's his 40th reception. The second closest Tiger is actually not playing tonight. Injured tight end Lutzenkirchen with just 15. A week ago, Wallace zeroed in on Emory Blake, whether he was covered, double covered, triple covered. But nice to get the chains moving in an early completion for the true freshman.
From the 32. Tucks it underneath. And wrapped up at about the 35-yard line by Bakari Rambo. Number 18, he's a vital part in the secondary for the Georgia Bulldogs. Had a good game against this Auburn crew a year ago. A big pick 6 for a score.
14 interceptions in his career, just 2 off the school record. Suspended the first 4 games. This defense took a while to incorporate a lot of guys that missed time early. Rambo, the head of the list. He's playing faster, and watch him tonight. The number of times he's going to jump routes based on a young rookie quarterback, at times telegraphing those throws.
On 2nd and 8. Wide open Blake with the catch. And Blake with another first down into Georgia territory at the 42-yard line.
Scott Loeffler, the coordinator, Gene Chizik were raving about the poise of Jonathan Wallace. They know there's going to be some bumps in the road. The technique, not perfect. And you could see right there when he released it, he knew, but completions. Just find a way early in this game to put a little pressure on the Georgia Bulldogs. You had absolutely the worst start you could have with a 3-and-out and watching Georgia march the ball down the field. Gene Chizik knows, possess the ball, get completions, move the chains.
Caleb got a nice block and sprung loose on the perimeter, and another Tiger first down. Uzama with a nice block, number 81, and a 12-yard pickup.
And Caleb, one of our impact players, is not getting near the number of touches he did throughout his career here at Auburn, where he's one of just 2 players in the history of the SEC with 2,000+ rush yards, 1,000+ kickoff return yards, and 500 receiving. He has the most quickness offensively. Nice setup and scheme there by the coordinator Leffler to get him into space where he can be a difference maker.
It's looking pretty poised on this opening drive. They're going to try and throw here. It's Bray with nowhere to go. Dragged down from behind. Jordan Jenkins making the stop for the Bulldogs. Almost looked like it might be a horse collar tackle for a second there. But that's going to be a big loss on the Tigers.
Many times you'll see offenses get into that go zone, whether it's a deep play action pass, a trick play. The sophomore Bray has to learn there. If you don't have it, avoid the negative play of -11. Once he was outside of the pocket, he could have thrown that ball away and avoided a costly sack to disrupt what was a very good, fluid, high-tempo drive.
Blake in motion again to the top of your screen. They're going to blow this play dead. Georgia calls timeout. They made a late substitution and may have had some issues getting lined up.
Timeout, Georgia. First time out of the half.
We're going to take one with them. Jarvis Jones of the defense trying to put their imprint on this game.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Grab your friends, bring your IDs. If you're 21 or over, it's Miller time. And in part by iShares. Visit iShares.com to learn more.
A couple of big images, guys whose shadows loom large here at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Vincent Edward Jackson, a.k.a. Bo. This guy was a pretty good quarterback a couple years ago. Cam Newton, 14-0 on the way to the national championship and a Heisman Trophy. It's all about Jonathan Wallace right now. So far, 4 for 4 passing for 54 yards. Caleb tripped up and brought down at the 39-yard line. Brock, this is an offense that, since the time Cam Newton was calling the shots at quarterback, has really changed a lot, hasn't it? How so?
Well, dramatically with a coordinator change. We all know Gus Malzahn has moved to Arkansas State. In steps Scott Leffler, pro style, comes from Michigan, as well as Urban Meyer, trying to take some of these hybrid players that Gus Malzahn recruited to run his system and make them fit into a more pro style system. I'll tell you what, right here, young quarterback, you're thinking 3 points. Find a way to get into field goal range.
3rd and 19. Delivers a strike complete to Bray. Bray brought down at the 34-yard line. So you do the math on that, and it's a field goal of a little bit over 50.
And Cody Parkey has a career long of just 46. The junior place kicker has been accurate in his career, and I don't mind that at all. That's a young quarterback realizing Georgia's a veteran defense. They drop deep into coverage. They take away the intermediate throws. Check it down, at least create a decision here for the head coach.
On 4th and 14, there's a look at Parkey, who has yet to attempt a field goal of over 50 yards this year or in his career. We have a little discussion on the sidelines, and looks like they're letting this play clock wind down and bring the punter on.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
So Gene Chizik taking a rather conservative approach on this one. Didn't mean to use the word conservative in this post-election era that we're in. 4th and 19.
It's a good drive by your freshman. Unfortunately, the trick play you try to utilize with Quan Bray results in -11. Outside of that, very efficient from Jonathan Wallace.
now and sending his own 10. That's a moonshot that has a chance to be down, but oh wow, good job by the special teams of Auburn. And now they're going to say it went into the end zone. Close but not quite. Jonathan Jones with a spectacular effort, but they're going to bring it back out to the 20-yard line on the 39-yard punt.
This is the way it's gone all year for Auburn. Close, just not good enough.
First and 10 for the Bulldogs from their own 20. The reverse to Mitchell, the one-time DB, now on offense full time, and a first down at the 37-yard line. What kind of impact does he make now full time here, Brock?
He's a difference maker, and how fortunate for Mike Bobo, offensive coordinator Mark Richt, to have the kind of flexibility with the return of your suspended players defensively to flip Mitchell back over to receiver, with trying to fill the void of your two veteran receivers, both lost for the season with ACLs, and that's Bennett and Brown.
First and 10. Murray completes the quick pass to Rome. Pushed out of bounds, a gain of about 7. All right, Wendy. Murray completes it. It's going to be another first down, this time to Conley, who caught the earlier touchdown. A gain of 5 on the play. You know, when I think of Malcolm Mitchell, makes me think of offensive, defensive coordinators, talented player going in a cage match to see who gets that guy on their side of the ball. We'll talk about that a little bit more after this play. First down and 10 coming up. Over the middle, complete to the big tight end, Jay Rome, and a lot of discussion went into whether Mitchell would go on one side or the other, but now out of necessity, right?
That's exactly right. Early in the year, we had Georgia when they blew out Vanderbilt, and there was a real tug of war between the offense and the defense, but now it's what's best for the team, and especially coming down the stretch where, as Mark Richt said, all of our goals very much still out there to accomplish.
So Mike Bobo on the cage match, I guess. First and 10. Murray on the money tonight, inside the 30-yard line, this time to Arthur Lynch. So the tight ends figuring prominently in the offensive approach early in the game, a 13-yard pickup.
And this is a nightmare for Gene Chizik, and it's not just Malcolm Mitchell. As you take a look at the number of snaps that he's going to play, eventually he may get to the Champ Bailey range. He was nearly 1,000 snaps, was the old Bulldog Champ Bailey. But this is a mix of run, pass, inside, outside.
That was Marshall. The comparison's been made to Champ Bailey, right? I mean, when you look at them, similar talents,
similar size, similar burst in athleticism.
Murray with a hot hand, 8 for 8. They run it this time down to the 20-yard line. That was Keith Marshall, stopped up by Jermaine Whitehead. Gain of 2 on the play. Marshall and Gurley, a couple of high school friends, talked about coming to the same school. They eventually did.
This is a big down here very early in this game. Auburn, who has just gotten thrashed in the first quarter all season long, has got to keep this one close and get Georgia out of this rhythm offensively.
Lynch and Rome lining up on the right side of the offensive line, and Auburn calling a timeout. It's Mark Richt's move. This time they went to Chris Conley, and what made that play look so well and work so well?
You saw a veteran quarterback take advantage of a defense that decided to play 7 across. And when Aaron Murray knows what he's getting defensively, watch the anticipation, the flat feet of the Auburn defenders. Murray throws right into the void of that zone defense. The worst nightmare for an opposing defense is Aaron Murray getting into rhythm very early in the first quarter. When he's been challenged through his career in big moments, it's when he's hit and harassed early. He is on point to begin this one tonight.
Did a bunch of work at the Peyton Manning Skills Academy in camp. Paying off once again this year. 3rd and 2. Play fake. And lots of room ahead of him. And I mean a lot. Gets down at about the 5-yard line. And it's 1st and goal for Georgia. Olsey made the tackle, but not after Murray showed some foot speed and got 15.
It's pretty remarkable, the clock in these two quarterbacks' head. There's no way that Jonathan Wallace, start number 2 of his career, can play with the kind of poise and timing that Aaron Murray does. His read's taken away. He doesn't panic. He sees the flow all to the opposite side of the field. Easy money.
Great ball handling. Touchdown, Mitchell. And the Bulldogs barking loud here early in the first quarter. Mitchell with his 3rd touchdown catch of the season.
Marshall Morgan to attempt the point after Adam Arrington to hold.
Well, we were just talking about Malcolm Mitchell switching from defense to offense. Nothing wrong with scoring points for your team.
3rd and 2, play pass, 1st and goal at the 5, even with a very good run game. Watch the play action fake here. A week ago, a very similar look against Ole Miss. Right there, his whole back turned to the defense, selling it. Look at all the Auburn defenders lost in space. Not a terrific throw, but when you sell it that well to the defense, you don't have to make a perfect throw to execute.
That caps a 9-play, 80-yard drive for Georgia, who now have scored both times they touched the football. And Murray really spreading it around nicely tonight. Very judicious with his receivers. That'll make Mark Richt's hip feel a little bit better. He's been experiencing a lot of pain throughout the course of the season. Has talked about hip replacement surgery when it's all done. But points on the board, always good medicine.
And you started the open tonight asking me, well, this veteran Georgia team, how can they do it? How can they finish this deal off? They're in control of their destiny. They win tonight. They win the SEC East with an Alabama loss today. All of a sudden, they're vulnerable. Remember, Georgia, number 5 in the BCS standings coming into this evening. And this is exactly the start you wanted. The energy you create. Aaron Murray, surgical in his precision, his play fakes, the tempo on both sides, quieting a very raucous crowd here at Auburn, Alabama.
Caleb again, and this one will come out to the 25-yard line. You know, Murray wanted to increase his completion percentage by 12%. And hey, Allison, he's done a lot of good things this year.
He certainly has, Mark. And one thing coaches love about Murray, and his teammates certainly appreciate, his ability to distribute the ball, get everybody involved offensively. Already tonight, 6 different Bulldogs with receptions. And you can see that relationship on the field. Murray talking to all of his wide receivers, Mitchell, King, Conley, asking them what they're seeing, how the DBs are playing them. It is obvious the trust he has in his weapons. Continuity,
consistency, Allison, you're spot on. Aaron Murray, 4 years in this system. Got a master's degree from Mike Bobo.
That's going to be Mason.
Trey Mason carries the ball right out.
Mason brought down by Bakari Rambo.
Rambo's bringing it tonight. I told you in the production meeting, there's, I think, times that seniors who are draft eligible guys can say, you know what, let me protect myself and my investment here a little bit. I thought I saw that on some film earlier for Bakari Rambo. You're not seeing it tonight with an SEC East title on the line. Mr. Rambo living up to the name.
Hey, with a name like that, you've got to be able to ball out. Rambo already with 4 tackles in the game. Nathan Wallace under a little bit of duress here early. And brought down at the 25-yard line by Jarvis Jones. If you don't already know, Jones began his career out in Los Angeles at USC, had a back injury, and there was thought to be a career-ending element to it. Got a second opinion, was subsequently cleared, and continued his career at Georgia. And the rest is history. He's an All-American, #1 on the big board.
Tech on another sack. That's 9.5. And he's missed 2 games this season. I'll tell you who's a little nervous tonight if he's watching this is David Pollock. 14 sacks in the season is the school record. Mr. Jones has a chance tonight against this freshman quarterback that's going to have to throw it to, as you said, calling Mr. Jones' name a bunch tonight.
To the Auburn family in downtown Auburn.
Uga looking a little sluggish there on the sidelines. Hey, welcome back everyone to ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. It's the SEC on ESPN, and one of the enduring symbols of college football. From the 25-yard line, it is Auburn football 3rd and 10.
Blitz fest.
Wallace broke a tackle. Not that one though. Bakari Rambo was coming as well. A pickup of 3 on the play, but it's going to be time to punt once again for the Auburn Tigers.
Defensive coordinator Todd Grantham loves to get in 3rd and 7+ because he has enough speed on the back end of his defense and experience to be able to bring linebackers and free safeties. And Jonathan Wallace, if he's staring at 3rd and 7+ tonight, he will have no chance. No opportunity of success, not with his personnel and lack of experience against this group defensively.
On his own 14-yard line, Stephen Clark has a high spiral to McGowan, and a fair catch at the 37-yard line. No return. As for Jarvis Jones, hey, 9.5 sacks on the season. How do they account for him defensively?
Great players make everyone around them better. And look at Auburn tonight. Jay Prosh, the fullback. Look where his eyes are. He's making sure he knows where number 29 is. Jones, when he's off of the edge, watch the extra tight end. Chip help out the freshman tackle. It's not just the explosion plays that you see from Jones. It's the amount of influence he has on that offense and how much they have to account for him. Snap in and snap out. That benefits those around him.
Grantham said he came back stronger and more prepared this year. Murray has been perfect tonight and continues to be on point. That one to Conley, and another first down for the Bulldogs into Auburn territory at the 48-yard line. I want to ask you, Brock, how important right here early in the ball game for the Tigers to stem the tide, to stop the hemorrhaging just a little bit?
It was important on the previous 3rd and 2 in the red zone, 1st and 5. They just can't right now, because when you have balance offensively and when you can run it and when you can throw it and you have a veteran quarterback, it makes life brutal.
Wendy, things got a lot more interesting with that Texas A&M win at Alabama. Mitchell fighting off the defender, incomplete. There was a lot of contact down the sideline. Holsey defending Mitchell well. Sets up 3rd down and 7 coming up.
That's a good play by the true freshman, Holsey, making his 5th start of his career. I like that the refs don't call that either. You see both the receiver and the DB, a little bit of hand checking.
That was the first incompletion tonight by quarterback Aaron Murray.
Got to get off the field defensively. I see Murray directing the traffic and the protection.
3-year starter. They put a lot on him at the line of scrimmage. Finds his receiver but couldn't connect with him. Intended for McGowan. And a win for that Auburn defense. But there's a flag down on the field.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, 55 defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Wow, that hurts.
Oh, that's just destructive, and you can see Gene Chizik, he knows it. And this is what's created a lot of the unrest down here in Auburn, Alabama. Not just 2-7 and 0-6 in the SEC, but an opportunity to get yourself off of the field. Is it questionable? Absolutely, that's questionable. In the NFL, that's a penalty. Usually in college football, it's not. But you can't even put yourself in a position to make a judgment call from the ref. You're off the field there punting. That's unfortunate.
Murray to Marshall. Run over the right side of that offensive line. Marshall and Gurley, a couple of talented freshman tailbacks that came in at the same time. Friends going back to their high school days, talked about coming to the same school, playing at the same school. Marshall committed first, and Gurley's commitment came after that. Marshall getting the carries right now. Of course, last year's freshman of the year in the conference, Isaiah Crowell, Kicked off the team earlier this year, and that was Marshall picking up about 2. Well, there was a guy by the number 34 that was pretty good that played for the Bulldogs back in 1980.
Yeah, he was okay. How about that? 274 carries, over 1,600 yards for Herschel that freshman year. It takes 2 to try to fill the production of what was one of the greats of all time running the ball.
I love that. That's catchy. Herschel, combination of Gurley and Marshall. 3rd and 4. Underneath. Let's see where they spot this. It looks like they're going to give him enough for the first down at the 20-yard line. Nice catch by Arthur Lynch. Whitehead making the stop, a 4-yard gain, and just enough for another Bulldog first down.
And 4 for 4 now on 3rd downs. Aaron Murray and the Bulldogs, and you've seen play action pass, drop back pass, the penalty, the critical penalty there against Lemonier.
And looking a little fatigued right there on defense. Auburn's defense been on the field a lot tonight.
Defensive coordinator Brian Van Gorder, he knows if you get to 3rd down, you've got to find a way to get off the field.
Gurley back in a tailback, dotting the I. Quick 3-step drop, batted down at the line of scrimmage and tipped by Demetrius McNeil. Let's go downstairs to Allison.
One thing Georgia offensive coordinator Mike Bobo told us, without Marlon Brown this week, we would see the fullbacks and the tight ends more involved in the passing game tonight. Already 5 receptions for the Georgia tight ends.
Yeah, good point. Allison, and of course Bennett was injured, and Marlon Brown injured in last week's win against Ole Miss, and that's Aaron Murray injured. Taking a little bit of time before he gets up. See what happened here. I'm not sure. There's no good way to get tackled, right? I mean, I'm looking at that thinking.
Yeah, especially when a guy by the name of Casanova, middle linebacker, Casanova McKenzie, drives you into the ground. You always hate to speculate on injuries, but having gotten the wind knocked out of me a few times with linebackers driving you in the ground, that's what it appears to be. And besides all the production for Aaron Murray, I'll tell you what else he's been is available. And that doesn't get nearly enough credit. 37 starts for the redshirt junior. He's had a few bumps in the road, and he's had a few plays this year against South Carolina and Florida that you scratch your head. But by and large, over 3 years, that guy's been a rock for Mark Richt.
Parker Welch is going to come into the ball game now. Backup quarterback.
This is a chance defensively. You don't expect Welch to throw it, although they've had a lot of success
When you
tonight.
say this is a chance defensively,
This
what do you
is a
expect
chance
to do?
right now to try to create a negative play. I look for a negative run blitz here to try to attack this play in the backfield.
The toss sweep into the boundary. Gurley held to a gain of about 2. And they're saying it's a fumble, but not quite. Referee marked him down. Gabe Wright a little overzealous as Murray comes back into the ball game. 2-yard gain on the play.
4 for 4 on 3rd downs. Brian Van Gorder, what do you do defensively? Aaron Murray loves blitz. Told us this week. And when they blitz, it's an opportunity. There's a lot of real estate and green grass for me to take advantage of. This is a must for Auburn if they at all want to keep the War Eagle fans engaged in this one tonight.
Gurley in the backfield, Mitchell in motion. Murray. Touchdown, what a grab by King. On a rope from Murray.
Da-da-da, da-da-da.
Oh yeah, top 10.
Get yourself ready, Tavares. You put 15 on for your buddy Marlon Brown, who tore his ACL. That was his number. Your senior counterpart.
Got that 1 foot in. That right foot looked like it got down in time.
By a millisecond, Mark.
Yeah, they're going to review this one.
Is under further review.
Tavares King, whose father, Anthony, played at Clemson and in the NFL.
80 touchdown passes coming in tonight, already a school record. Continuing to build upon it with 2 And right there you see the veteran moxie and poise. Does he panic? No. Mike Bobo anticipates pressure, gets him out of the pocket, and this ball is where his receiver can catch it or nobody. Does that right toe get down? Yes, it does. That's going to be a touchdown. That's going to be number 383 in his career, and it's going to continue to silence this crowd that wanted to be a part of the festivities tonight.
That right foot looked like it got down. I remember Tavares King, now a senior. I remember him as a freshman describing his first touchdown reception to me. He said he kept the gloves from that catch and made moldings of them. Little marking of history with the senior. They admiringly call him Gramps.
Well, he's got to love a signal caller that he's worked with his entire career as well. This right toe, to me, clearly down. Doesn't matter that left one is out. That right toe gets down
first, right?
Yes. It's not simultaneous. It's down. Game over. Touchdown. And that is also the 19th, tied for 4th all time as Tavares King for the Bulldogs, the 19th of his career.
If this stands, Aaron Murray will have had 3 touchdown passes in his last 11 tosses.
There were some Auburn fans down on the field asking me pregame, can Auburn be in this one tonight? And I said, well, Georgia, they are tremendous front runners. You better not let them get into rhythm early, because if you do, it's going to be a long night, and that's exactly what Mark Richt's team has done.
On the field stands. Touchdown.
20-0. Climbing and ascending the list in school history. Tavares King, his 7th touchdown catch of the season, the 18th of his career. And wearing the number 15 for his fallen teammate Marlon Brown. King with a royal catch in the back of the end zone. Back with more right after this. It's all Georgia right now. Tavares King continues to be a key cog offensively for the Georgia Bulldogs with a touchdown catch. A few moments ago had those 2 big catches earlier this year in that Missouri game. Really got him out of the gate well. One of the fastest wideouts they have. It's a team that's short on wide receivers after Bennett and Brown went down, but King, along with the tight ends, picking up the slack tonight. Out to a quick start. Georgia leading 21-0. A win tonight for the Bulldogs, and they'll play in Atlanta for the SEC championship.
And it's a tale of 2 teams, Mark. You've got 3 seniors in the entire 2 deep for Georgia. Excuse me, for Auburn. 10 for Georgia. And the veteran experience taking advantage of the youth and the inexperience of Auburn.
Trey Mason in the backfield. Hey, this looking like a bad dream. Speaking of fantasies for Auburn, the old fake the snap pass up top, Wallace, and it's incomplete. Broken up nicely back there. Swan, Damian Swan, number 5, intended for Sammy Coates.
And Todd Grantham likes Damian Swan a whole bunch. I told you of all the seniors that Georgia starts. Well, this kid is beating out a senior in Brandon Smith to the field corner. Todd Grantham, like a lot of coordinators in college football, have a corner they like to play into the boundary, the shorter side of the field, and then your more athletic corner to cover a lot of space, and Swan's a good one.
It's Wallace's first incompletion, now 5 of 6.
You see Swan up here. This is to the field. And time away from that hash mark.
Set up the screen well. McCaleb got a blocker in front of him. And he's off. Ontario McCaleb. Alec Ogletree with a nice tackle in the open field by his shoestrings. But a 33-yard gain by McCaleb.
In my opinion, you got to find every way, if you're Scott Loeffler, the coordinator, to get this guy the ball. He's an impact player tonight. He's only averaged about 7 rushes a game this year. He's not prototypical for their pro style. He fit much better in Gus Malzahn's system. But when you have an athlete that has a different gear, especially with this unit, you got to get him his touches and get him tonight.
He gets a breather. Trey Mason dotting the I right now. First and 10. Mason brought down at the 39 by Ogletree. Hey, what do you make of the performance of the freshman quarterback right now, Jonathan Wallace? You go back to the Texas A&M game where they broke him in slowly 2 weeks ago. He got a lot of confidence, but what kind of grade would you give him right now?
I think it's very solid. He's not seeing everything tonight, and we'll showcase some of the full field reads he's missing. That's the difference. Right now he's going 1 to 2 to run, whereas you see an Aaron Murray progress through the entire field, but he's holding his own right now.
On 2nd and 8. Blake in motion. Wonder if he got, or how much of his progression he got through that time as he tiptoes out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Things move a little fast for a true freshman, right?
Yes, they sure do. You're trying to get a feel for protection, and watch C.J. Uzomah, the tight end, get out on the wheel route. Remember I showed you Murray looking at the body language of that defense and anticipating that throw? Well, you see the youngster not able to find Ogletree running to the boundary, knowing that he'd have that throw behind him. That just comes with experience. There's no way practice reps, especially against a defense this fast, those practice reps aren't good enough to prepare you for everything the Bulldogs throw your way.
On 3rd and 4. They run it. Mason flag down. Mason pushed out of bounds at about the 33. Let's see what the call is. That's going to come back.
And Georgia will have a decision. Do you take 4th and 1 or?
Holding, offense 51, 10-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
Against Patrick Miller, right tackle.
6'7", 288-pound true freshman. And guess who? That's Jarvis Jones.
That's a guy worth holding.
Well, I told you earlier about his versatility, and a lot of it built around the pass rush. This guy is remarkably sound in the run game as well. He can dip. Did you see the low man win? You always hear that in football. The low man wins. This guy built such a good base against the run, getting underneath the pads of those offensive tackles, and has a quickness to force holding calls like that. He can do it all.
On 3rd and 14 now. Stepping up, nowhere to throw it though, and he's going to be brought down at the 44-yard line. Jones there again. Jenkins giving him a little bit of help. You know, Jones told us earlier this year when we saw them against Vanderbilt, when he watches NFL video, he likes to study DeMarcus Ware and Dwight Freeney, Clay Matthews. Pretty good guys.
Yeah, the one thing that they'll evaluate him, and you mentioned those other guys, maybe a little bit more like Clay Matthews, but he's even bigger and more stout. You know, he's not the longest, most angular guy, but he really makes up for it with his tremendous explosion.
Allen calls for the fair catch just inside the 10-yard line. It's been all Bulldogs here at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Back with more right after this. Under the lights at Jordan-Hare Stadium. College football primetime presented by Miller Lite. The SEC on ESPN. Mark Jones along with Brock Eward. Allison Williams down on the field. Todd Gurley in the backfield for the Bulldogs. Georgia has scored on all 3 of its possessions so far. Murray still hot on a 1st down. Out to the 22-yard line. That's Mitchell. Wendy, what's good? Wendy, nothing here. Straight ahead, that's Todd Gurley. Gurley, a freshman whose poise belies his age. Coaches, especially Mike Bobo, the offensive coordinator, talking about how he's constantly in their football offices, watching video, learning his craft. Got some pretty good physical tools to begin with too. 6'1", 218 pounds, a freshman. Some thought there might be a little bit of a drop-off with Isaiah Crowell being suspended from the team, but there's the evidence. Todd Gurley with another 1st down over the right side.
And what you love so much and what you appreciate from the booth up here is just the mix of run and pass. And when you have that kind of balance, it makes it so tough on a defense. And look at those legs. I mean, you and I could run through that lane. Well done by the offensive line, but that is a powerful kid. Well over 900 yards, probably going to get to 1,000 on the season tonight.
Georgia has been meticulously efficient tonight on offense. Murray with an out and up. Got a man. King, first and goal, Georgia.
Murray's pass to number 15.
Tavares King, who scored on a touchdown earlier, picks up 56 right there. Boy, Murray put it right where it had to be.
Well, anytime a quarterback starts talking to the umpire, you know it's a good night, and this is going to be a double move here. Auburn likes to involve those safeties in the run game, and when they get flat-footed, once again, it's reading the body language of the defenders. You want to be a great anticipator as a passer, whether it's basketball or football. Read the body language of your opponent. They get flat-footed, it's game over.
Gurley trying to put this game on ice, and another touchdown for the Bulldogs. Set up by Tavares King's long reception. Georgia makes it 27-love. His 11th rushing touchdown of the season, and the stunned silence here at Jordan-Hare Stadium. The UGA chant raining down in the field from the fans that have made the hour and 15-minute drive down Interstate 85 South. King with the setup. And Gurley with the finish. Georgia leading 28-0. All right, thanks a lot, Wendy. And once again, Georgia getting ready to kick off to Auburn, leading 28-0 with 5:09 to go here in the first half. Georgia has won 7 of the last 10 meetings between these two teams. This has been a very turbulent year for the Auburn nation. Still winless in the SEC. Caleb going to take it out, try and make a play. Worth the gamble, you would think. Why not? Down 28-0. Ball out to the 12-yard line. Mark Jones along with Brock Heward. Brock just 2 years ago. Auburn was 14-0. They had a Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. Last year they go 8-5. Right now 2-7 overall, winless in the SEC. You can understand some of the questions that some people might talk about the coach's job security.
I think there's two things, Mark. I think number one, whenever you're playing young people, you need to see growth. And Jay Jacobs, this is going to be his decision to make as far as his coaching staff. Is this group getting better? And then secondly, when you've got 90,000 packed in here, you can't be embarrassed. And 2 weeks ago, A&M embarrassed you. 63 points on the board. It wasn't competitive. And through the first 20 minutes of this game, it's not competitive either.
All of a sudden, he gets rid of it. Complete to Mason, but as quickly as things can go south, they can turn around too. Let's go down to Allison.
Well, one thing that raised some eyebrows around this Auburn football team was the news that the team had employed a private security firm to enforce an 11 p.m. curfew for the players. It went back to the August 25th arrest of Center Reestus Musk, and Coach Chiswick wouldn't really go into any details about it, but as you can imagine, a lot of the players not really happy with it, and some say it reveals the level of trust between Coach Chiswick and his players.
That would be something that I would think as a student athlete, there are times where you might have to be out beyond 11 o'clock for reasonable reasons.
Timeout Auburn, their second timeout of the half.
But you better get it done. I thought it was nothing good happens after 12 o'clock, Brian. Back with more after this. Standings going to change as Alabama loses today at home against Johnny Football and Texas A&M. Well, Kevin Sumlin doing a great job coaching that team this year. Wallace dropping back. Incomplete intended for McCaleb. So let's take a look at the respective schedules of number 2, 3, and 4. Kansas State, Oregon, and Notre Dame. What do you see here in terms of what might play out?
Well, Notre Dame has got the easiest road. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They do have to travel out to the Coliseum. Oregon, if you're an Oregon Duck fan, with Alabama's loss tonight, that door swung wide open for you. And if you're an SEC fan, believe it or not, after winning the last 6 national titles, if K-State and Oregon run the table, I really do believe, and I chatted a bunch with Brad Edwards about it this week, If those two teams take care of business, you may see no SEC team in the championship game.
Imagine that. This pass complete. 11 the tight end pulls. Keep in mind that the SEC has won the last 6 BCS championships.
Keep in mind how much those computers like the Big 12 Conference. Keep in mind how much the voters like the University of Oregon. And as I said, and we learned today as A&M went into Tuscaloosa and beat the Crimson Tide, every week matters in college football. So to assume that somebody and anybody's just going to run the table, better be careful about that. But as I said, the opportunity knocks. No doubt about it now for Kansas State and Oregon.
They're down 2. It's going to be a sack. Jarvis Jones. That's his second one tonight. Got to keep an eye on number 29.
I talked about leverage earlier, and how good he is in the run game. You know what else elite defenders typically do? They understand every inch of an angle. You know, just like, I know you love hoops, man. I know in the NBA, those pick and rolls and those guys that understand how to rub right off of those blitzes. That was an inside stunt. That guy wastes no ground. Inside, outside, run game, pass game. One of the dominant forces in all of college football.
There's Mitchell back to call for the fair catch. Of course, you talk about the Vizio BCS standings, Brock. There's always the argument about a one-loss SEC team and where you put that team, especially now if it's Alabama. Are they ahead of a Notre Dame?
I really can't imagine that. I really cannot. If you were undefeated, playing some of the schedule, and I know it's changed as the season's evolved, but I can't imagine a one-loss team moving ahead of those 3 unbeatens.
A little beat of heat, and they finally get to him. D. Ford sacks Aaron Murray. That was one of the formulas for success potentially for Auburn in this game, right?
Well,
I mean,
the strength of their group, and as inexperienced as they are everywhere, it's not on their front 4. Over 100 starts combined out of that group. D. Ford, Corey Lemonier, who had the critical roughing the passing earlier, he was first-team All-SEC a season ago. 16.5 sacks in his career. That group up front had to be difference makers. That hasn't happened through the first half.
Conversely, the offensive line for the Bulldogs has done well, much better than a week ago, as you saw. Trying to set up the screen to Marshall and nobody home. And in a blink, it's 3rd down and 20. Good heat up front by Blackson. This is one of the few times they've gone 3rd and long coming up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And a little line stunt there and back-to-back hits. We saw the wind get knocked out of Aaron Murray earlier.
See if the Tiger defense can get off the field here on 3rd and long. Timeout called on the field by Mark Richt. 3rd and long when we come back. 3rd and long for the Bulldogs. They run it, give it to Marshall. He's got the 1st down and then some. So they win on 3rd down all the way out to the 47-yard line.
2 safety look tonight. Mike Bobo said it's going to be run. He gets exactly what he wants with the draw play, and it's been poor tackling. That continues to be the theme and the bugaboo. Your safety is right there to make a play. He's flat-footed. Lack of execution. Georgia now 5 for 5 on 3rd downs. Can't get yourself off the field if you're the Auburn Tigers.
Flag down on the play. Georgia's already gone over 300 yards of total offense.
False start. Offense 79. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
So they come out of a timeout, and that's Mark Beard, true sophomore, making his first career start. And Mike Bobo and his coaching staff's next to us. And this is where the chess match begins. And he's thinking, well, 3rd and 20, what's Auburn going to do? I'm going to guess they're going to play conservatively, play those 2 deep safeties, and I'm going to give my speedster a shot to hit a crease and hit a lane. Chess match victory once again for Mike Bobo.
Over the middle, complete. Tackle made on Mitchell near midfield, and boy, Georgia has been the picture of efficiency tonight, scoring touchdowns on all its previous possessions.
174 passing, 137 rushing. One of the country's most efficient passers, continues to get after it, and Mike Bobo loves every one of it. Every one of those looks on his play sheet working tonight.
The punter, Alan Barber's to take the night off. Nice hit on the play on Conley, and let's go downstairs to Allison.
Well, we know how frustrating it is for the Auburn defense not to be able to get that stop on 3rd down, but also deflating for the Auburn offense. They were all on their feet, waving their arms, trying to rally their defense to come up with a big stop, and when they didn't, they all just kind of unsnapped their helmets and slumped back down in their chairs. You can see how the momentum affects both sides of the ball.
Right now, that momentum all in Georgia's favor, Allison. Let's take one more look. We were talking about it and referring to them a moment ago, our Vizio BCS standings. What's the wild card as you look at the teams now?
Well, now you're out. As I said earlier, here's where your SEC teams begin from 5 down. And you've got K-State, Oregon, and Notre Dame undefeated. The computers love Kansas State in the Big 12. They've got marquee wins on the road at Oklahoma. They're leading at TCU tonight. I think the Heisman frontrunner and Colin Klein. Number 2 is Kenyon Barner right there at Oregon. I don't anticipate any issue with Cal tonight. And they'll have Stanford and Oregon State to do nothing but improve upon their computer ratings and then a Pac-12 championship game. And that's why I really do believe, Mark, and through a lot of conversation with stat guru himself, Brad Edwards, this week, I asked him point blank, if Oregon K-State run the table, will the SEC be shut out of the BCS title game? And he very much seemed to agree with me that yes, the strength of schedule, the eyeball test of Oregon and Kansas State, they take care of business. They're going to be playing for it all.
Significantly break a trend. Under a minute to go, 49 seconds. Marshall in the backfield. Pass drop in and out of the hands of Arthur Lynch. 4th and 3 coming up, and looks like it's going to be the first punt tonight for Georgia.
And that's the first minor little hiccup on a perfectly thrown ball to beat blitz.
Lynch has been making a major impact in the absence of some of their key receivers like Bennett and Brown. Colin Barber into punt. Standing at his own 39-yard line with 45 seconds to go. First half action, it's been all Georgia Bulldogs, and this the 116th edition of the Deep South's oldest rivalry. Shot, but it's going to be down inside the 5-yard line. Man, you talk about things going your way. Great execution by the Bulldogs special teams and the true freshman quarterback, Jonathan Wallace. This isn't exactly what he was bargaining for.
No, this is going to be a handoff and get off the field and regather yourself. But credit Mark Richt in every phase, and that's why they're number 5 in America. Other than a disaster up in Columbia, South Carolina earlier this season, offensively, defensively, special teams, one of the more balanced.
Almost a forgotten number 5. I mean, under the radar in a sense, right?
Well, and I think unfortunately when you get shellacked the way they did in such a marquee manner on the road at South Carolina, you know, they gained some good back by beating a very physical, good Florida team. That helped. A marquee win. In fact, that was Aaron Murray's only victory versus a top 20 team in his career. They got that one. They feel better about themselves, and they've got to feel good about their effort here in the first 30 minutes.
That's Brosh on the handoff. And 2nd and 5. I'm not sure you have anything to gain by actually snapping the ball again if you're Auburn. If anybody knows about Joe Pisarcik. Herm Edwards. 2nd down and 5. And they're going to let it expire. 28-0 at the half. Gene Chiswick's team struggling again. The motto this year for the Bulldogs: our team, our time, no regrets, and they don't have any. Right now, let's go back to Wendy for the Outback halftime report.
This is the Aston Martin DB5 that Daniel Craig will drive in Skyfall. Always an iconic image in Bond films, just like these memorable plays.
Great ball handling, touchdown, Mitchell, and the Bulldogs barking loud. Murray. Touchdown! What a grab by King! Welcome back, everyone, to ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. It's the SEC on ESPN, the Deep South's oldest rivalry between Georgia and Auburn. Right now it is all Georgia, 28-0, as we get set to start the third quarter. Murray has been picture perfect. Mark Jones, Brock Heward. Brock, in the first half, it was all Georgia, and right now Auburn looking busted, disgusted, and not to be trusted.
Topic of conversation down here is all about what's next. What's next for Gene Chizik? And they always say the eye in the sky does not lie. And when you look at video, and that's what I'm trying to do, is objectively judge the coaching on this end and what are guys doing and where are they at. And this is the back end of your defense. That should not happen. Two guys both biting on a play fake. This is Jonathan Evans. This is a senior. That is a senior linebacker that's been here for 4 years, completely out of his gap integrity. And watch Darren Bates, 25, and Demetrius McNeil, 12, run into each other, creating just a non-competitive environment. Jay Jacobs, the athletic director, is evaluating every one of these games, every one of these snaps. So is his board, so are the fans, so is his president. And unfortunately, it's going the wrong way right now for Auburn. And Gene Chizik knows that. He can watch that film, and if he were in this booth, he would say the exact same thing. That is unacceptable. It's not necessarily always effort. It's a breakdown in assignment. It's a breakdown in teaching. And unfortunately, those breakdowns are leading to 28-0 shutouts here at home.
Georgia going to get possession to start the third quarter. I mentioned as quickly as things can go south. They won the national championship just 2 years ago. The flip side is they can also improve. So athletic director going to have to weigh all the different variables involved in a reported $7.5 million buyout of Coach Chizik's contract as of December the 1st. So that will be a storyline that continues to play out over the next couple of weeks here in Auburn.
Because of success, that expectation bar is at an all-time high. 2 national titles, 50-some years between them. You got it done in 2010 with a special phenom of a player. Last year you held your own. You're 8-5, not quite good enough. And then unfortunately this season, the train has just come off the tracks.
1st and 10 from the 25. That's Gurley as we go downstairs to Allison.
Well, Mark, I talked to Auburn head coach Gene Chizik at the half about making sure his guys continue to fight down 28-0. And he said, hey, that's who we are. These guys will keep swinging. I told them they just need to come out, be physical, and have some fun. Now, of course, they have to correct some mistakes, namely on the defensive end. He said, we have to get off the field on 3rd down and cannot give up the big run play. Speaking of the running game, they were outgained 137-11 on the ground. He said that both of those areas need to change.
Right now, his defense giving up some yards and another 1st down, Allison. That's Mitchell with the reception. Aaron Murray has been near perfect, picking up 14 on that one in the first half. They picked up over 300 yards of total offense. And right now, Murray has gone for over 200 yards passing.
17 of 21. He'll continue to climb the ladders of efficiency, be one of the 5 best in all of college football after this weekend. When you jump double moves, you leave guys open and you get flat-footed and you have a veteran quarterback that reads your body language, tough to play good defense.
Great balance by Gurley, and another 1st down into Tiger territory at the 47-yard line. Another missed tackle, that one by McNeil, a 14-yard gain.
It's been a difficult night for McNeil. He's in position, but I'm sorry, that's terrible form tackling. I mean, you come in, and I understand Gurley's a man at 220 pounds with incredible legs and strength, but you can't come dive at the ground and not bring your arms, and that's just poor fundamentals.
He hands it off to Gurley again. A popular refrain and another 1st down. You know, you get back to Aaron Murray, and his leadership has been a priceless variable in their success. You go back to his toughness as well. It dates all the way back to his high school days. You know, as a senior in high school, he broke his leg in the middle of the season and actually returned in time to lead his team to a state championship. Tampa, Florida. Really sells those play fakes too. Thrown a little bit high, perhaps, for Tavares King. And one of the rare incompletions, just his 5th in 22 attempts.
Well, there's no doubt he makes this entire group go. And Allison was talking earlier about body language and how offenses and defense, can work with one another. And when you've got an elite quarterback, it just elevates the game of everybody. Mark Richt knows that as a former offensive coordinator himself. And then when your offensive line is executing the way they are tonight, this is one of the better efforts with a bit of a reshuffled group up front.
And off to Gurley, cutting it back nicely. And inside the 25-yard line, another first down. Hey, we got a special occasion today for the quarterback, don't we, Allison?
Game for Aaron Murray. You guys have to imagine this is an emotional game for Aaron Murray. First of all, he turns 22 today, so what better present than an SEC East title? Also, guys, on the other end, this is the first game in 14 years, he tweeted, that his dad is not able to attend. His dad battling thyroid cancer, so I'm sure he is on his mind as well.
Yeah, definitely a great job, Allison. Murray playing with a heavy heart.
His dad is watching him play another fine game, and he just continues to build week after week after week. And frankly, he may have a decision to make after this season. He's sitting here as a junior with another year of eligibility, shattering almost every school record other than yards.
He's from an athletic family. Dennis, his dad, played baseball in the Blue Jays organization. There's a strike that any baseball player would be proud of. Right at the first down marker to Malcolm Mitchell, a gain of about 8, and it looks like he's got enough for a first down. We talked about his dad Dennis in the Jays organization, the baseball player. His brother Josh spent 5 years in the Milwaukee Brewers system, and his mom Lauren ran track and college. Some really wonderful athletic lineage. That's Malcolm in the ball game. His first carry, stopped up right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play.
You know what else you love, and I got a chance to spend some time with Matt Barkley this offseason, who tried to continue to work on the little details. And for Aaron Murray, he's got a great teacher in Mike Bobo, and a lot of consistency here as they've all been together. And he challenged him to get better with his footwork, to be more balanced in that pocket, to improve his accuracy. And everything that Mike Bobo has asked of his junior quarterback, he's responded to.
2nd and 10.
That's a check with me at the line of scrimmage.
Hands it off to Malcolm straight ahead between the tackles, and boy, he really moves the pile. A 7-8 yard gain actually on the play, and all the way down to the 6.
Wide receiver Ricardo Lewis working his way off of the field, and it doesn't matter who you're putting in behind this line right now, they are downhill.
11th play of the drive. Malcolm looks like he's got enough for the first down. It's up about 2 on the play. They're going to give it to him. It's been a very balanced attack by offensive coordinator Mike Bobo.
You can't do it much better than that. And a lot of the pass tonight, setting up the run, forcing this Auburn team to play a lot of 2 safeties. And as I said earlier, credit this offensive line. It's created movement, and these backs who have just churned out the yards downhill.
Malcolm again, this time nowhere to go. Nice stand there in the middle of that defense, Blackson and Wright. Angelo Blackson, number 98, Gabe Wright for Auburn. 2nd down and goal. This defense, we saw images of them earlier tonight on the field for some pretty long, sustained offensive drives, and at some point fatigue perhaps becomes a factor. 2nd and goal for Georgia.
And watch that back of the end zone, back line. Murray devastating early in the game as they played the same coverage.
4 receivers. Incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Jay Rome. You can hear some of the Georgia coaches up in our booth next to us in our booth actually voicing their displeasure a little bit with the tight end, Jay Rome. I heard darn Jay, or something along those lines. I'll sanitize it for the show. 3rd and goal. Looks like King split to the bottom of your screen. He's been the go-to guy tonight, him and Mitchell. Murray on the run. Going to try it himself, but stopped up short of the end zone, and 4th and goal coming up. Mackenzie Casanova.
That's a good stand. You know, I'll be real curious to watch this second half. I know that Jay Jacobs, the athletic director, many of these boosters, many of the folks here will be watching this as well. And Gene Chizik told us yesterday, we're going to keep swinging at Aaron Murray. We're going to keep fighting for the first 60 yards of that drive. Not very good effort, especially tackling.
Marshall Morgan, 6 of 9 on the season. This one, a chip shot from 20 yards out.
They stepped up and did something they didn't do much of that first half, get off the field on 3rd down.
I guess in that definition of a win, that's a fit.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
And a look at Nova before the game tonight. Spreading his wings a little bit. I guess right now, middle of the 3rd quarter, that's about the only thing that's taken flight for Auburn. Pretty sharp left turn. Stuck the landing, though.
Georgia did exactly what you would expect a number 5 team in America to do, and that's take the air out of this stadium. Against an inferior opponent, it started from the very beginning. Don't let them hang around. Don't let Nova and this crowd get excited and get into it. Right from the jump, Georgia was on point tonight.
Goes towards McCaleb, who watches it. Uh-oh, they've gone to the paper bags.
That's not what you're looking for.
Looking for a little anonymity. That started back with the Saints back in the day, didn't it? The NFL, the Aints. Trey Mason in the backfield. Got a yard on the play. Jonathan Wallace, the true freshman quarterback, getting the start tonight. His 2nd one of the season. A young man that originally committed to UCF, Central Florida. Auburn offered him late. Coach Chizik getting on the phone with him at some point, sealing the deal, saying, hey, you're an Auburn kid. You're an Auburn type of kid. You can live close by and come and play at a special place. It's in a special league. And enough said. Auburn down to 9. Wallace back to pass. Takes off and gets beyond the 30-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and about 4 to go. Ogletree making the stop on the gain of 5.
And you asked me a little bit earlier, how is Wallace handling this moment? Well, he was 8 of 10 in that first half. He avoided the critical mistake. And unfortunately, they just could not get that explosive play that we've seen Georgia get time and again. And you anticipated Georgia tonight, keeping those safeties deep, blitzing when they needed to. And when you don't have balance and when you're one-dimensional, Gene Chizik knows this as a longtime defensive coordinator. It makes it very difficult to go up against an elite defense, which Georgia is.
Wallace under duress again. The catch was made amazingly by Trey Mason, but he got rocked by Christian Robinson. And those are the kind of passes you carry the running back off the field with his head turned around. Smiles abound on that Georgia sideline, and with plays like that, why not?
I think he liked that.
He's feeling himself a little bit on that. 4th down and 8. Great punt. All the way back to the 29-yard line. Fair catch by McGowan. 44-yard punt. Nothing on the return. It's the dog days right now for Tiger fans.
The War Eagle cry and the Eagles' dramatic pregame flight comprise one of the most electric moments in all of college football. Legend has it that the tradition began at the first Georgia-Auburn game in 1892 when a Civil War veteran's pet eagle flew high above the field. Soon after, Auburn scored the winning touchdown and students began chanting War Eagle. Welcome to my university.
Kind of scared the bird a little bit there, Brock.
Unfortunately, that was
little nugget.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was the highlight of the night tonight for Auburn.
Who knew? Nova. Marshall in the backfield. Let's go downstairs to Allison.
Well, this Auburn defense so young. This whole team really so young. In fact, the only fifth-year senior is Taysharvin Bell, and the coaches mentioned what a leader he has become, and you can see that on the sidelines. He's really the only one that's very vocal, and last time off the field, he was telling the guys, we have to step up. They're going to keep pressing on our throats. We have to go out there and make plays, keep pressing, and just keep playing. He's a very vocal leader for this Auburn defense.
A model of persistence. As Murray shows a little running skill, you go back to Bell, and he was Wendy coming up 3rd down and 1 for Georgia. Murray hands it off to Marshall, who has the 1st down, but he's thinking big.
See ya.
Running big, showing out big. Touchdown, Georgia.
Steve Marshall carried to the Georgia touchdown.
62 yards and a bolt across the plains.
Touchdown run for 62 yards.
Right now you're looking at a very disconcerted and dispirited Auburn team. Down 38-0 with 4.5 to go. Georgia looks like they got their mind on Atlanta. 38-0. 4:34 to go in the 3rd quarter. Bulldogs in control. Touchdown a few moments ago. What was the key here?
Mark, football is the ultimate team game, yet it often comes down to individual battles. You see Georgia take care of the front 7, and this is Demetrius McNeil, your safety, in a one-on-one situation. We've seen this a bunch, and I hate to kill the kid, but I talk about the fundamentals, and he knows it. He knows that that is not what he's taught. That's not form tackling since he ever started playing this game. It's not what they work on day in and day out here at Auburn. And when you have that opportunity in the hole to make a play and keep a 5-yard run, you've got to do your job. And unfortunately, right now on the back end of this defense, time and again, they're not getting it done.
Marshall ran 62 yards for the score. And this one will come out to the 25-yard line. What about Kentucky? Coach Cal's crew barely escaping the upset from Maryland last night. My man Frank Fisher, the Duke Georgia State game last night as well. That pass incomplete. Ontario McCaleb. You'd have to go back to 1946. Couldn't tell you what they were wearing back then, Brock, or what kind of music they were listening to. So,
well, I know one thing: none of these kids were around.
No.
It's so strange to see so many of these birth dates in the 90s now as well.
2nd down and 10. The quarterback keeps it himself. Jonathan Marshall. Tell you what, you're talking about birth dates in the 90s. My birthday's next week. I'm just giving you a heads up. You know what I want for my birthday? I want a competitive game, okay? This one getting out of hand, or is already out of hand, any way you want to say it.
And I'm going to imagine maybe one of the last series for some of your starters that you're going to need here down the stretch. It's Georgia Southern, it's Georgia Tech. You've won the SEC East title. You're getting yourself ready for that SEC championship game. So maybe one of the last chances here that we see an Ogletree, Jarvis Jones, and the rest of these frontline Bulldogs.
3rd down and 8. Pass complete to Blake, who's been conspicuous by his silence, picks up the 1st down at the 43-yard line. A 15-yard gain and a rather derisive cheer from some of the fans that remain at Jordan-Hare Stadium. You know, you talk about Georgia making it to Atlanta to play in the conference championship game. There are going to be some detractors that say they didn't play LSU or Alabama from the West this year. And they got a Florida team that had been softened up from the week before.
Well, they'll get to go up against an Alabama in that SEC title game, and they're going to get to see. And Alabama the last 2 weeks itself has also looked vulnerable, Mark.
Getting beat today by Texas A&M. Wallace pulls it out. Nice looking pass down to the 39-yard line, complete to Blake. Emory Blake, one of those seniors that was a member of this national title team a couple of years ago, going undefeated 14-0. And his dad, of course, Jeff, played in the NFL for a number of years with the Bengals quarterback, and he has been one of the rocks for this team that has faced a lot of adversity this year, as has this guy, Ontario McCaleb. And Brock, how tough is it when you're a player when you've experienced the highs at 14-0 in a national title, playing with a Heisman Trophy winner, and a low like this where you're winless in your conference?
No, it's incredibly tough, but this is where you have got to be mature and a leader and know and realize that these younger kids are all watching you and your effort.
Nice catch by Blake. Well, that's setting an example, but he fumbles it. He got knocked and put it on the ground. And it's Georgia football. Big hit there by Sean Williams to jar the ball loose. That's the first turnover of the game tonight.
And you'll see Blake at the top of your screen, kind of in between. I think he was thinking that may be a bubble screen thrown underneath, but he makes the play, and that's just tremendous team effort. Look at the number of Bulldogs that are continuing to hustle. You're up 41, and I see 5, 6 Bulldogs in the screen to the 1 Auburn Tiger.
Williams and Rambo right there to rip that loose. And a dejected-looking Blake. Back the other way, the Bulldogs from their own 11-yard line. Their offense has racked up 467 yards so far. Timeout on the field. Mark Richt is happy. He just hasn't told his face yet. Some great memories between Auburn and Georgia, and that was one of the more indelible moments. Touchdown catch, and then Uga jumps up and snaps at the Auburn player. Robert Baker barely escaping harm's way. This version of Uga, of course, a little bit more docile at the time.
Oh, he's chilling. Enjoying another championship. How about the 5th in 12 years SEC East title for Mark Richt?
Malcolm with a nice gain is for the defense. Allison, what's up with the Georgia defense?
Well, hard to believe, but defensive coordinator Todd Grantham actually getting after his guys when they came off the field after forcing that turnover, because he felt it shouldn't have come to that. He did mix in a few good jobs here and there, but he wanted to remind his guys to play what he calls. He felt like they made some mistakes earlier in that drive that shouldn't have happened because they weren't running what he was calling. And a few good jobs, but really getting after him.
Yeah, you know, Allison, as Malcolm makes the carry close to the first down, think about Coach Grantham at the end of that Vanderbilt game 2 years ago or last year. He went face-to-face, literally, with James Franklin, their head coach. The two of them had a little disagreement. Coach Grantham, very intense guy.
I love what Coach Grantham said to us earlier in the year, and that's a good shot of him right there. Before that Vanderbilt game, he said, you know what, we're creating our edge, and we have got to be mentally tough enough to play the next snap. And that's what he's talking about there. When you're up 38, be mentally tough enough to still finish this game out, to pitch a shutout, to be proud of every single snap you play defensively.
3rd down and 1. Hey, bro, that sounds good, but there's this thing called human nature.
Timeout, Georgia. Their second timeout of the half.
Timeout of the field. Coach Grantham's defense with that big 0 hanging up on the board right now against Auburn. And it's interesting that Coach Grantham, the defensive coordinator now for Georgia, Willie Martinez, the former defensive coordinator at Georgia, on the other side right now for the Auburn Tigers. Tough to pick apart any weaknesses that you might see in Georgia right now. Let's project ahead a little bit and have a little fun for the title game in the SEC in Atlanta. Alabama, Georgia, who do you like? teams are kind of going in opposite directions right now.
We'll get to watch the next couple weeks. What you really like is what Georgia's doing now defensively over the last 2 to 3 weeks in that Florida game. The output once again tonight. And this is a group that Todd Grantham had playing at a higher level last season. And then you'll remember the multiple suspension and guys in and out. And now they're really finding their rhythm at the most important time in those games that everybody will remember that are played in November.
Malcolm stopped up a little bit short of the first down. All right, Wendy.
Boston College. We saw Boston College about a month ago.
It looked like a team
get
that can hang with
obliterated by Florida State. Notre Dame finds a way week in and week out to play to the level of their competition.
Did you see it coming with Notre Dame?
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Did you see this perfect season coming? Do you have any inkling?
No. No, and to be fair, Notre Dame's going to get everybody's best shot. You're going to get the very best of Boston College, the very best of Pitt a week ago. But they're a little bit like this Georgia crew, to be quite honest with you. They've got a difference maker, a middle linebacker, just as Mark Richt has, and Jarvis Jones, and of course that's Manti Te'o. And their front seven there at Notre Dame has been a group that's been SEC-like. I mean, that front seven is why this team is where they are, no doubt about it.
Aubur's punt. Fielded at the 36. That's a priceless smile right there. First down and 10 with 9 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter.
You'll see better days, sweetheart. You will see some better days, I promise you. This is a proud program with tremendous facilities, an awesome fan base, great tradition.
Well, it's out of the shotgun. Caleb brought down at 32 by Ogletree. Ogletree making a nice impact on this game, along with Jones. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. Back with more right after this. Folks, this Veterans Day, ESPN is working with the USO to help lift the spirits of America's troops and their families. Give a gift to our military heroes and their families through USO Wish Book. Visit uso.org/ESPN to grant a wish today. A special thanks to thousands of National Guard troops who are helping our friends on the East Coast secure their homes and dig out of the debris in the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. Still plenty of work to be done. Ellis with plenty of time and picked off at midfield. Overthrew his receiver, and Bakari Rambo with another interception. Boy, he just seems to find the ball, Brock. For Rambo, that's his 2nd of the season and the 15th of his career.
Well, you know what's awesome is he's on the back end, and we showed the safeties of Auburn tonight biting on play pass, losing their eyes, and watch Bakari Rambo. He doesn't. He plays exactly his assignment. He's deeper than everybody else. And then when the rookie quarterback makes his first mistake tonight, well, he makes him pay with his 15th career interception, putting him right on the cusp of the all-time record at the University of Georgia. That's the difference, and that is a senior that's played a ton of ball, but assignment correct and fundamentally sound to finish the deal.
Parker Welch, the new quarterback for the Bulldogs, calling the shots now. Hands it off to Richard Samuel. Gets his first carry of the night to start off the 4th quarter for Georgia. Got a chance to see Parker Welch in that Vanderbilt game a few weeks ago when they were just 3-0. You look at the turning point for this Georgia team this year, you might have to put the finger on that Florida game. It really did a lot for them.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Aaron Murray, for all of the stats and the numbers and the success, as I said earlier, had not had a win over a team that finished the season in the top 25. And Florida will do that assuredly this year.
So we'll have the toss down to the 45. People down in the bayou still talking about Coach's proclivity for gambling. Coach Les Miles. Didn't work out that time, but I'm not sure that's going to change him. Welch looking to pass. And sacked back at the 49-yard line. Lamonier. Lamonier with the sack. 6'4" junior.
He's a difference maker. I mean, a season ago, and just look at him. A season ago, he was first team all SEC with 8.5 sacks. And that now the 6 on the season, but he went through a big dry spell where you didn't see the productivity. And it's not all freshmen. I mean, this whole story here at Auburn, you can't excuse away with just freshmen here, freshmen there. Some of your veteran guys that you counted on to make differences haven't this season either.
Lamonier has great pass rush trade. Like to say, got a flag on the play. Lamonier did a nice job on that last one. Trevante Stallworth ran into the kicker. And Clark really left that leg up there an extra beat or
Running
two.
into the kicker on the defense. That penalty's declined. First out.
It's the SEC on ESPN. Excuse me. Welcome back, everyone, and now let's take a look at our FaceTime profile brought to you by Edward Jones and Ashton Richardson. Boy, a Rhodes Scholar. Finalist, one of 12. Check out that GPA. 3-time SEC academic honor roll. From an academic and athletic background as well.
Dad, an All-American at LSU. Everything that's right about student athletes. Former walk-on, has earned everything here at Auburn.
It's Prosh on the run.
You look at Georgia. I said earlier, this may be the last you see of their starters. We saw this against Vanderbilt as well. Todd Grantham does not mind playing his guys. And this is what he wants. And that's Mark Richt, and he wants it as well. But let me tell you, Todd Grantham is a proud guy.
You've been on the sidelines. You guys actually talk about it?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Let's keep this shutout.
Oh, you heard Allison earlier. He's still all up in the business of his guys to play every snap, to do their job, and to finish this game right.
Under 12 minutes to go. Wallace out of the end zone dangerously, and wisely throws it away. Allison, what's up?
The seemingly never pleased Todd Grantham is now, in fact, after the Bakari Rambo pick, he said to his guys, hey, this is a good SEC team. We're on the road. You shut them out. That is a statement right there.
It shows on the scoreboard. 3rd and 6 coming up.
Cut his teeth with Dom Capers, Frank Beamer, Wade Phillips. And oh, by the way, a guy down in Tuscaloosa that likes to finish and play great defense. That's Nick Saban as well. And this is also about not just these 12 minutes for Todd Grantham. It's about what will be looming down the road, knowing that getting your work in here will pay dividends in that SEC title game.
Bringing a little blitz after Wallace. Got it away, but incomplete, intended for Emory Blake. And 4th down, they'll have to punt from deep in their end zone. Jones again bringing some heat. Ogletree. Earlier before this game, Slade was talking about Jarvis Jones not really being all that. All you got to do is account for where he is. That time, how would you grade that? Is that a stalemate?
Slade won that one, but if I were Jarvis Jones, I'd probably say, hey, man, 38-0, 2 sacks.
Do the math on that, right? Well, came after it a little bit. Gowan, fair catch at the 45-yard line. Good field position for the Georgia Bulldogs. More popular corners here and landmarks in Auburn, Alabama. Toomer's Drugs, an Auburn landmark since 1896. Anchors the corner of Auburn's campus, and got to get that lemonade at Toomer's. Won't be toilet papering the trees tonight, the way the scoreboard is reading right now. 11.5 to go. It's Georgia 38-0. Mark Jones along with Brock Heward.
I will say, and you talked about earlier some of the games we've had this season that haven't been terribly competitive. I will say we've been to some of the best spots in all of college football.
Yes, sir.
Memorial Stadium in Lincoln was fantastic. Ole Miss was a sight to see against Texas, and this venue Really, this atmosphere leading up to this game, one of the best.
There's Malcolm. There's a lot of cross-pollination when you talk about Auburn and Georgia, the rivalry. Vince Dooley and Pat Dye in particular, guys that have gone to the other schools, have been coaches and ADs.
Proximity. You said that earlier in the open of the show. I think many people would look at these schools in Georgia and Auburn and not realize how close they really are.
I actually did Pat Dye's last game here back in 1992. More popular coaches.
Gene Chiswick's hoping that you're not bringing that once again.
What are you trying to say, man? Joshua Holsey, the injured player down in the field for Auburn.
And that will obviously be more of the conversation. It lit up the radio airwaves down here and all the papers and all the articles. You see Gene Chiswick there looking at his true freshman corner that is starting, one of 3 true freshmen that's starting on this team. And Gene Chiswick's got a lot to work on here down on the Plains.
5 to go. Santa incognito tonight, wearing that Auburn gear.
Mrs. Claus, her dude too.
Yeah.
She's doing her thing. Look at it. They're sticking around.
Tell you what they'd like under their Christmas tree is some 5-star recruits coming to the Plains. But right now it's been all Georgia. Malcolm, the tailback, beside the quarterback, Parker Welch, who's in relief of the starter Aaron Murray, played the first 3 quarters. Malcolm down to 40. On the line tonight, coming into this ball game for the Georgia Bulldogs, was a trip to Atlanta and a berth in the SEC championship game. With the win tonight, they'll play in Atlanta against Alabama, no doubt. But Alabama, if you're joining us, losing earlier tonight against Texas A&M at home. So there was nothing magical or lucky about that. A&M deserved that. They outplayed Alabama today. Snap a little bit high. Fair catch called. It bounces all the way down to the 4-yard line. All right, Wendy.
And Notre Dame, Mark, is really the group out of the 3 left there at the top. And Kansas State handling their business. Oregon will play Cal later tonight. Notre Dame's really the crew that can't afford 7-3, 14-3 games. They need to do what Georgia's doing tonight.
Well,
yeah, when you're facing a Boston College, a Wake Forest next week, you have got to do something, because that eye test right now, it's not in your favor when you're looking at Oregon and K-State ahead of you.
There's Trey Mason on the run, trying the left side of that offensive line. Got a couple of yards.
And I'll tell you what, you're still seeing all of the starters for Georgia defensively.
Jarvis Jones right there.
That's right.
29, the alpha dog out there for the Bulldogs.
And this is where, okay, I get it, I understand it. Todd Grantham, you want to pitch your shutout. You want to continue to dominate this opponent and this rival. But you better not lose anybody now. There better not be an ankle. There better not be a hamstring. There better not be anything in the final 9 minutes here with one of the guys you're going to need down the stretch.
Another handoff. Tackle made on Mason by number 6, John Jenkins. I was talking about Jarvis Jones a few times earlier tonight. First time I said that he had a neck injury. Then I said a back injury. It actually was a neck injury. Back at USC, thought to be career threatening, got a second opinion, subsequently cleared to play at Georgia, and came home to play.
And to be honest, Mark, that's going to really be the only conversation this offseason. He is a redshirt junior. I can't anticipate him coming back to school, but that will be the conversation. The physicals, the MRIs at the combine, the medical for him. That is the only thing that could possibly slow down someone not wanting him to be a valuable part of their NFL franchise.
Pass over the middle, caught by Blake, out to the 25-yard line. Jarvis Jones has been ubiquitous all over the field tonight. Sideline to sideline, and making an impact on this game.
Frankly, that run and playing the run is what I love, maybe as much as anything. There's a lot of guys that can do this, and actually not a lot in college football quite to this level. But when you're talking and you're projecting him to the NFL game and his willingness and ability to leverage the run while still being dynamic in the pass, that's why all these scouts were here tonight. I caught up with many of them at halftime. And
Mason out of bounds.
I mean, he is just a bona fide top 5 pick and a guy that'll fit in any scheme at the next level.
Talked about his neck injury. How much of an issue you think that becomes at the combine?
It will be. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that, as I said earlier, that'll be about it, Mark. And when they look at that, and USC looked at it years ago and said, you know, I'm sorry, kid. And Georgia and all of their medical teams said, nope, you're good. And Georgia's been on the right side of this thing because it has not been an issue at all for him in the last 2 years of his dominant run.
2nd down and 6.
Lane Kiffin could probably use him down in L.A. though.
A disappointing year for the Trojans. Always going to keep it. Nice move using his feet out near the 40-yard line. Walked out of bounds at about the 39. Do they have any issues about you at the NFL Combine? I know they poke and prod you and look at the pictures, MRIs, X-rays.
Well,
too much fast twitch? Was that it?
Where do you want to begin? We've got 7 minutes left in this game. Well, they've got a bunch of guys, and it's not just Jarvis. I was looking at Tom McShay's preseason draft grades, as I typically do every week getting ready for these games. And Georgia's defense especially, it's Ogletree, it's Rambo, it's Jenkins in the middle. Lots of guys are going to get drafted in this coming April's draft.
The Bulldogs defensively, they're thinking about that shutout there. Thrown up on the board right now. Nice move by Mason. And Mason gets enough for another Auburn 1st down. Approaching 6.5 minutes to go. A 12-yard pickup on the play. We talked about Jones already and his prospects in the NFL. What about Bakari Rambo? Where do you see him?
Oh, he's a difference maker. Yeah, he's going to find a home. Anytime you have the ball skills that he does on the back end and you play in a defense like this, and I think that's advantageous for all of these guys. Todd Grantham is very diverse. This isn't just line up and play one technique. They'll play man, they'll play zone, they'll run every blitz, especially on 3rd downs. It's unfortunate that he had a hiccup this offseason. It's unfortunate that he didn't get to showcase himself for an entire season, but he's sure, like the rest of these Bulldogs, finding a way to finish strong, Mark.
Got his mind on his money, his money on his mind. The NFL. Well, BCS, SEC, the conference has dominated the BCS since its inception. Florida, LSU, Alabama, Auburn in 2010, and the smile of Cam Newton's infectious and radiant. An entire season 14-0 in Alabama for the 2nd time.
The last 6, and as it stands today, even though going into Saturday, this conference had 1, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 5 of the top 8 teams in America coming into this Saturday afternoon, all hailed from the SEC. But with Alabama's loss tonight, right now as we stand, pushing into late November, they're on the outside looking up. An undefeated Notre Dame, Kansas State, and Oregon team.
With a pitch back play. And Rambo almost had his 2nd interception of the night, and he's upset at himself for not.
Games up next, Cal.
Wendy. Back here, Trey Mason on the carry. Under 6 minutes to go. The only question now that lingers is whether Georgia's defense is able to show off that donut on the scoreboard when it's all said and done. Jenkins still plowing away. Cummings there, and Rambo still in the ball game, along with many other starters. That old Greg Schiano played at the last snap, right? 3rd down and 6. Little heat on the youngster, and they light him up. A sack back at the 48-yard line by Ogletree. Another guy who missed some games earlier in the year because of unspecified team violations.
You think Mr. Grantham is still wired?
Wow.
And he's still bringing the pressure. Another line stunt here. And the young quarterback holding on to the ball. And I think Mr. Jones probably going to get credit for a half a sack with his buddy Ogletree. Probably no better feeling. I can't speak because I wasn't a linebacker, but I'm guessing no better feeling when two guys meet at that quarterback in the backfield.
Somebody's got to tell me what Coach Grantham was all heated up about. Fair catch called at the 23-yard line by McGowan.
Front seven, the #1 rush defense in America, by the way. An Oregon State team on the road in the Civil War that's played good football and in the Pac-12 championship.
Here's Samuel, new quarterback in the ball game. That's Christian LeMay, number 16.
And somewhere, I promise you, Bill Hancock is smiling, the head of the BCS, because he says it every year. These things sort themselves out. You can get all worked up November 3rd about 4 unbeaten teams, but we see it just about every single season. We saw it with Alabama today. That adage about college football, and Aaron Murray knows this, that every week matters. Their 1 week at South Carolina, that's the difference for them. That's why they have a 5 next to their name and not a number 2, frankly.
Second down and 9. Yeah, they have a favorable schedule, you'd have to say. This is LeMay running close to the first down. Didn't have to play LSU or Alabama in the West. But you know what? It goes around in cycles, so everybody gets a shot at that.
Tom Luganbill this week, I spent some time at ESPNU, and I thought he put it beautifully. He said everybody's talking about Oregon and Alabama and the clash of styles, and heck, we got to see it on display as Texas A&M's no-huddle up-tempo and Johnny football was all over the field against them. And he said Kansas State is really Alabama without all the stars. The 4-star recruits, the 5-star recruits. Such a physical team, do so many things the right way.
Samuel on the run, but Kansas State deceivingly does have some talent on the field.
Oh, they sure do. And I'll tell you what else they have. Not only the Heisman Trophy frontrunner, you study their defense. 9 seniors, 2 juniors for the Wildcats and Bill Snyder. Number 3 kickoff return team. Number 1 in America in takeaways and turnover margin.
Might not be a coach in the country that does more with a little bit less than Bill Snyder. Not often the most forthcoming of coaches, but that has become one of his strengths.
And have Baylor and Texas left here down the stretch as they took care of business on the road against a good TCU team.
There's LeMay on the keep. Yeah, it's my opinion Coach Snyder should be in charge of national security, because he doesn't tell you much.
You know, you talked earlier about Aaron Murray, and you know, on a night like tonight, it's so easy to use hyperbole, and he's all this, and he's unbelievable, and he did so many things well. But I love that last shot, that shot right there. And because that's what Mike Bobo said. Always a positive guy, always a good leader, but really took strides this offseason to have some of the tough conversations. We saw it earlier with his tight end, one of the rare mistakes that Georgia made offensively with Jay Rome, his tight end, demanding more, having the harder conversations to hold everybody accountable.
Already graduated with his psychology degree. This is understudy in the ballgame, Christian LeMay, and they talked about some of the leadership studies that he put together and applied them to some of his teammates and applied them to his leadership style on the field. And he feels like it's paid some major league dividends. So
field general. And this is what I'm talking about. This was earlier to Jay Rome, his tight end, who was just a little slow out of break. Aaron's ready to pull the trigger, and that's what he's telling him. That's what the booth next to us said as well, is, come on, Jay, get out of that break, play fast. You got your field general ready to pull the trigger, get you a touchdown.
They weren't as nice as Murray was tonight,
no. Instead of just letting it slide, man, every last attention to detail. That's how you become a champion, and that's what they're going to need. Mark Richt is going to get what he really wants, not just an SEC East title, but an SEC championship.
May brought down at about the 41-yard line, and under a minute to go now. Georgia looks like it's got its shutout firmly in hand. They're going to punt it right here, or maybe they might not have to. 4th down and 2.
You love that as well. That's offense, that's defense. To Allison's point earlier about a quarterback and what he can do. And on the flip side, for Gene Chizik and this Auburn team, you're playing a true freshman. You're playing a bunch of them. 2-7 turns into 2-8. Thankfully for the Tigers, they'll have Alabama A&M before they end the season in the Iron Bowl. And the tough year is only going to get tougher here, I think, unfortunately, in that finale.
College football landscape turned upside down today. Alabama losing at home against Texas A&M. Oregon undefeated out there. Notre Dame undefeated out there. But as far as Mark Richt is concerned, 38-0 will make that sore hip feel a lot better, albeit even just temporarily. His field general, Aaron Murray, the grad student, with a show of appreciation for his head coach. With 7 seconds to go, Murray today 18 of 24, 3 touchdown passes, 208 yards. And you know, when you're a former quarterback like Rick was, you can be a little bit overly critical of your quarterbacks at times.
Sure. For Georgia fans, nothing to be overly critical tonight. You came out, you wanted your team to start fast, to dominate from the beginning. They did that. And for Auburn, you're continuing to reel. Now you know exactly what the conversations will be this week and in the weeks ahead.
That's going to be the last play of the game. The defense earns its shutout. They are now the SEC East champions for the 6th time in 13 seasons. And another bowl game on the horizon. Final score once again, Georgia 38, Auburn nothing. Up next, college football scoreboard, followed by UCLA, Washington State. For Brock, Allison, and the rest of the gang, good night from Auburn, Alabama.